from the Salvation Army. He's already spoken to our board, but I wanted him to speak to the larger group here, and then we'll just leave it open for discussion. Please.
Thank you. My name is Bill Price. I'm the administrator at the Adult Rehabilitation Center for the Salvation Army, located in North Minneapolis right now on 900 North 4th Street. I'm looking at the closet. I'm going to talk real fast because I'd rather answer your questions if we can. We're passing out a little fact sheet that you can take a look at. The Salvation Army operates a very significant rehabilitation program, and they have for years in Minneapolis. We've been at our current location for almost 50 years, and before that we were on Nicollet Island for almost 50 years. And I would describe our program as a long-term, faith-based residential program for men, consisting of work therapy, spiritual recovery, and life skills education and training. It is an all-inclusive program. It is not what I call an in at night, out during the day type of a shelter. Our guys, the people that are in our program, we call them beneficiaries, and they are very busy. They do 40 hours of work therapy every week, and then in the evenings, like right now, they are involved in classes, counseling, one-on-one, both on the spiritual side and on the recovery side. And life skills. If they need to, they're going to GED, things like that. So they're very busy. We are totally self-supporting, the ARC. We call it the ARC, in that we derive all of our income through the donation of gently used clothing, household items, and furniture from thousands of donors throughout the Twin Cities area, including some of you. And we sort that stuff out, and the good stuff goes to our thrift stores, and the not so good stuff goes to the recycling. And that's how we generate our money. We don't receive any government funds, no United Way, no other Salvation Army monies other than what we earn through this process. So we're very unique in that respect. The building that we are currently in is very tired. Can I say that? And the Army has determined that it is not cost effective to do a renovation of that current site, so we're looking for a new home after being there nearly 50 years. We've identified a site directly west of here on the corner of Saint Anthony Parkway and East River Boulevard, the former Zip Sort building. I think it's approximately 10 acres. It's 153,000 square feet right now of warehouse, and then a portion of it is office buildings. To that, we would add a residential component because we need to offer what we call supportive residential housing to people that live there, work there, and but the warehouse part of it in itself would remain warehouse, and that's where we would do our business and our program. Our part of the Army employs about 200 people at this point, full-time and part-time. A number of them are at the center, and then all the rest of them are at our various stores, and which there are 10 of. And like I said, we have been in the neighborhood that we've been in for almost 50 years. And I think we're pretty good neighbors, both for the residential side and also the business side. I like to describe what we do in this idea of give, shop, heal, and you can read about that there. And I think I'll stop talking and let you ask your questions that you've been thinking about.
What street would the residence part face?
The resident part would, according to the drawing that I've seen, it would face south, it would face Saint Anthony Parkway, the long part of the residential building, and then the short end would be east and west. So it would face Saint Anthony Parkway looking south.
Where's your
900 North 4th Street in the warehouse, historic warehouse district, corner of 4th Street North and 10th Avenue North, within walking distance of Target Field.
not that where they have the Harbor Light.
No, Harbor Light is 1010 Curry.
That's the overnight.
That's the, if we do long-term recovery ministry, they do short-term, okay? They have a bunch of programs, they have a lot more beds than we do, but they don't do what we do.
Do you mean the possibility that this facility would go to short-term sometime? I mean, if you needed this space?
I don't think so. I don't think so, because that's not what we do. In fact, if anything, we'd rather go longer, because we know that addiction sometimes takes longer to take care of.
That was your question. What sort of programs are you treating?
We're treating anything that has knocked a man off their feet and made them unproductive. Most people that come to us have either alcohol or drug or dual addictions, but not all of them. Some people come to us entirely just because of homelessness. Some come because they've been incarcerated and they need to get further, stability on their feet before they're ready to do something else. But lots of people. Our primary program has to do with addiction recovery.
So I have a question. So the people basically live there 24 hours a day, live and work.
They live and work. The only people who don't work there are people who would either be what we call truck helpers on our trucks. We have 19 truck routes that come to your neighborhoods, and people who might work in some of the other stores. But they live there every day.
Were you going to move everything from 1010 over here, so you have the sales store and everything here too then?
Right now, we're not planning on a retail store. Although in our initial meeting with the park or with the planning commission, they thought maybe that would be nice. We didn't think it was going to be nice at this point, and that wasn't in our current plans. We want to move the warehouse, the trucking component, and the residential component, including the programming part, dining, classrooms, counselors, that recreation, that whole piece.
What do you do with individuals that participate and abuse the service, or they don't participate the way they're supposed to? They're out of line, or do you give them the boot and they're out the door, or how do you handle that kind of thing?
Well, we have a few things that are absolutely intolerable. Using and selling in the building, fighting or threatening, and arson. Those would get you an immediate dismissal, although even in those cases, we're looking to put them someplace else or send them someplace else rather than just send them out the door. Everything else, we would rather try to help them within the program, because we know that if they're not with us, we can't help them. So minor infractions we deal with in other disciplinary ways.
So you don't actually kick people out, you try to find another location for
I'd
them
say
if
we
it
don't
doesn't-
kick anybody out. Now, some of them kick themselves out through their poor choices, but we...
And they can just walk out and do their own thing then.
Right.
They-
And our program is entirely voluntary. It's not, there's no locked doors. They could walk. In fact, a funny incident, a few months ago, a guy decided he wanted to leave, so in the middle of the night he snuck out. He jumped over a second floor patio we have onto the sidewalk below and broke his ankle. He could have just walked out the door and nobody would have said anything. Go figure.
I think that would be one of the concerns maybe people have, is that the people might start wondering.
Well, I've thought about that. But what we have found, and I've been here 6 years, and I've been doing this for 10 years. If they didn't come from this neighborhood to start with, chances are if they don't want to be with us because they don't want the recovery, they're going back to where they came from. So their trip through your neighborhood is going to be pretty quick. They're going to get on the bus, or they're going to get a ride, or whatever. That's what we have found. And most people, if they're with us even 30 days, and our program typically takes 6 to 8 months to complete, they realize they've got a good thing. And the guys that we get, their life has been really messed up severely for some time, and they're desperate for a change. Most people want it, even if they don't know what they need, they want it.
I received an email from your media person after I inquired, and she made it sound to me like, I think she specifically said that they weren't allowed to leave for the first several months. So what does that mean then if you have an indoor policy?
Well, when a man comes into our program for the first time, he's on restriction for 30 days. He's been through our program before, he's on restriction for 60 days. Now that means if you want to be in our program, you don't leave. But it isn't a lockdown type thing. If they decide they want to leave, they're going to leave. Now some people will come to us from the courts, and the court will impose some kind of restriction. They shouldn't leave the building, or they shouldn't leave the building unless they're accompanied by a staff member. So that's what we mean by, you know, the on restriction, but they're not really. It's not a locked facility. It's not like work release.
So are you dealing with sex offender type people?
We do not deal with any CSC conviction, any criminal sexual. We do not admit those. We're not a licensed medical treatment facility, so there's a number of psychotropic drugs that if they're on those, we can't help those people. So there's a few people that don't qualify for our program. You have to be able to do work therapy, and if you're either not able or not willing, then you wouldn't be in our program.
At your old facility, did you have any neighborhoods around you? Residential?
Well, we have, if you drive down 4th Avenue east, I guess that would be east, I call it east, from ours, we have the warehouse loft development apartments all the way down, and then on the Washington Avenue and on 1st Street or 2nd Street, whatever that one is there's a lot of there's a lot of people that live in that area. Not so much on the west of us, but on the east of us, towards Target Center, towards Target Field, we have a lot of neighbors.
How many beds will this facility?
128 is what we're looking at. We have 150 beds now, so it's a little bit of a reduction from our current size.
You said that it's not a medical facility, medically licensed facility. Do you have licensed CD counselors though?
We have licensed CD counselors, but it is not a medical. We do not do detox, and if someone needs like 24-hour medical care, they need to be referred someplace else until they can be more stable.
What kind of security do you have as far as like, well, the trucks coming in, and what kind of drug problem do you have coming in? And typically or historically, have you had a problem with drugs coming in and being sold inside the facility then? Or, so you do have people from the public or out in the public coming and going.
Right.
So.
People know that this is a drug-free workplace and living environment. It is rare. We don't have the kind of environment where people are out on the street selling or dealing. Every time you walk into our building, you're going to be breathalyzed. It's a very accountable type of a program. Every time you've been on a pass, you're going to have a UA to make sure. So are we entirely squeak-free? No, we're not. Consider the population we're trying to help. But we do a very good job of trying to keep that at a minimum. And like I said, using or selling, trading in the building is an automatic dismissal.
I have a question. If you have 150 beds now, and obviously society is not improving, why would you be downsizing and not increasing your bed number?
Well, right now it's more of an economic thing. We need to be able to build what we can afford to build. The Army has tagged this as a $14 million project all in, and then also what we can afford to operate. Now, if our business model grows and we're able to expand, and that seems like the right thing to do, and the need is there, on this particular site, there's room for that. But right now, we want to make sure that we're doing it right in the first place.
How much room is there for expansion? How big or much bigger could you get?
Well, I don't know the exact answer because I think that has to do with the city and the zoning and space. But when you look at the land, the piece of property, there's a lot of green right now. And the residential piece that we would be building is about 41,000 square feet, 2 stories, and there's room to add, half again that much right there without hardly even problem. But that's down the road.
Do you have any other options, you know, for location besides this one?
Well, I can tell you that we've been at this relocation project for about 10 years. Before I got to Minneapolis, and ever since I've been here, they've been looking. We've been down this road at about this process, you know, neighborhood associations and so on, and a couple of other places, including West St. Paul and St. Paul itself, and some others. So this is not an easy project for the Salvation Army. It's a big center. I mean, it's not like moving your house.
These pictures that are going around,
Yes.
hopefully this is in your defense. Some of them show where there's some trash on the side of a building or whatever. Well, I was going to say, obviously in our neighborhood, we wouldn't have the same type of conditions that you're having downtown with transient people wandering around. We'd have a different situation here. We don't have people just walk a lot up with the trash.
Well, I wouldn't
anticipate seeing
right.
the same kind of pictures here as we have here.
No, and if you doubt that, come visit our current site. In fact, we'll give you lunch and we'll give you a tour of the inside if you'd like to find out more about what we do.
No, but it blacks away.
Well, I think that's the neighborhood, not their facility.
And there is right across the street on 10th Avenue, a property we don't own.
Unfortunately, downtown, you have people wandering around that really don't care what they're doing.
Yeah, but why?
I don't think it's your
Why aren't you
residence.
cleaning that up?
That would be the city. If it's a block away, it's not their trash. Well, of course it is, but you said it's a block away.
We do a fair amount of cleaning up. I mean, we also operate a 34,000 square foot retail store.
It's on a sidewalk, a block from your
A block away.
Yeah,
That's not their building.
It's not their building.
it's not the building, no.
This is our building.
I'm saying that this isn't going to happen here because we don't have transients walking around like you do downtown.
Questions in the back?
I don't think
We got some questions.
Look at this building. Where see the trash?
No, it was blocked out.
See the trash?
Look at, there's some trash right here.
But it's a block away.
Yeah, we would like that to go away.
We got questions.
One of our
down
problems
here.
here is we have no air conditioning. I'm sorry, we got some questions. Yes.
What percentage of your residents have criminal background?
I would guess by the time they get to us, 2/3 of them have some kind of criminal background. Some of them have felonies.
Yeah.
We don't accept sex
This is the
offenders
black
or
away, I mean,
criminal
ridiculous.
sexual convictions
Well, are
in
you
our
trying to
program.
blame it on them? Because it's not their building. Well, no, but they could clean it up. It doesn't reflect well
Probably
in there.
more
Well,
surprising
if your
to
neighbor
have
has
somebody
trash in
who
their
is
yard, are you
that,
going to go clean up their yard? Oh, yeah.
desperately ill from addictions to not have ever been arrested for anything. A lot of DUIs in people's past and things related to drug activity that they're trying to move away from.
We already have a Salvation Army facility, not your kind, but a different building on Central.
Yep.
Are you concerned that another building is going to be saturating using a little bit more? Have you thought about other areas or communities?
Well, there are about 19 Salvation Army units besides us in the Twin Cities area.
The rehab facilities?
No, but like the Central Avenue is a core and community center, like a church and social service. And there's, you know, another, 18 of those or things like that in different places.
Are you the only rehab?
We are the only one in 250 miles of what we do. The next closest is Des Moines.
Could you let us know kind of what your sense of the success rate, or you know, how successful is your program?
That's always a tricky question. So we've done some studies. 2009, we have complete statistics. 52% of the people that actually intake completed our program. But that's really not an important stat. What's important is how many people who complete your program are doing well a year later, 2 years later. But that's harder to track because once you leave our building, it's harder to keep track of you.
If you don't come back, you don't know.
If you don't report or you don't come back, and so that's a little bit harder to do that. But a good percentage. We have a good record. You know, Hazelden, up the road, sends their graduate students to our place to train. I think that says
Now,
something.
you said this was entirely voluntary on the part of the resident.
Yes.
Unless they're coming through the court system where it's like either go to this program or go to prison.
Yes, but
it's
even
still voluntary 'cause
those,
they have to make their choice.
right,
to
even those, I call them court suggested. Because if they don't want to come and they'd rather go to prison, that's on them.
Yeah.
And you know, with no locks on doors, they know, for example, if they're referred by the judge or whatever, if they leave our program, the first call is to the courts. Their parole officer.
Zone for the type of truck traffic that you will be having, and how many trucks are going to be coming and going?
The current property is already zoned, I believe it is I-2, and it is good to go as far as trucking. When you think about what was already there and so on, that's all right. We operate 15 straight trucks, and then there's a number of semi-trailer trucks that would come in, maybe one or two a day to service, you know, bigger loads. But we think as far as the business part of what we do, the zoning is already correct. It's going to require
zoning for the residents.
yeah, it's going to require what's called an overlay, and we call it the supportive residential because it's people who work there that will live there as opposed to like just operating an apartment building or something. And so that would have to be approved by the city, zoning people. But it's the exact same thing as we have at our current site. Industrial site, residential overlay, and since it's same city, we're hopeful that even though you've got a lot of hoops to jump through, it won't be a contentious issue. And as we look at that site, you know, you talk about the litter and so on. We look at that site and go, man, we would love to clean up and beautify that corner and kind of make it look like it's an extension of the park right across the street. It looks like it could use some TLC.
You know, it's got a few trees there, it's got a lot of landscaping there.
Yeah.
It's not at all true what you said, that you were on the landscape that time? Yeah.
No, I mean, I want to cut the grass better and that sort of thing.
You know, I think something else we need to keep in mind is I don't think there's a family in our community that somehow hasn't been touched by someone alcoholic or a drug addiction. And if we don't have people like you that help these people, it's only going to get worse. So
Talking to the
let's be
guy
very open-minded about it.
that was providing the food for that group right over there, his son is in our program right now. In fact, he was in my office this afternoon, and he's in my caseload doing one-on-one rounds.
I just think
That's how close it is to our neighborhood.
That probably all of our families are like that.
Where do they socialize? Do you provide an area within this building or courtyard?
We have recreation facilities in our building right now. What we don't have currently is green space. We don't have this much grass in our current location. We would love to have grass, but we have our own softball team. They go to an area field to play. When guys get to level 3, we have a grant that gives them a YMCA membership for 3 months downtown, and if they use it, they get another 3 months for free. And so, you know, and we have our own. They have places to watch movies, and we do not have a gymnasium, but there's other Army facilities that do, so we take advantage of those.
I think you kind of answered it, but my question was, is this site, the reason for this site, is it the green space and proximity to trails and that kind of thing? Is that part of the attractive nature of this facility in comparison to where you are now?
Yeah, you know, when you're looking, just like if you were looking for a house, you've got a checklist of things you're looking for, and this satisfied basically all the things we were looking for, except we didn't think it was particularly conducive for a retail store. So that's why we didn't put that on our plan right away. and it's a little farther from, you know, the urban services that our guys would use than we are used to now. But it is on a bus line, and I was doing a study this afternoon of Route 11, which is at the bus one, and that's not a commuter line. That's every half hour from about 4:30 in the morning till midnight, north and south. So they're going to be able to get to where they need to go. We love the fact that there's green. There's something about that peaceful, calming that you don't necessarily have.
Do you have an approximation of how many non-residents at your facility will be going to work there on a daily basis, or how much regular?
I'm going to guess. We only have about 5 employees that would actually live on site, and we probably have about 60 or 65, maybe even 70 that would be coming to work. And then the balance of all of our employees are going to work at our family stores and other places.
Oh, so during the day they're going to work elsewhere during the day then? I thought they were going to be working in the warehouse on your site.
Well, what I was trying to say is we have about 200 employees, part-time and full-time. About 65 or 70 probably work at our center, not including the store because they wouldn't be there. And then the rest of them are actually working, because every store employs 25 to 30
So that's
people.
in addition to the 128 residents.
In addition to the residents.
But I thought you said the residents are working while they're there, so what are they doing?
They're doing work therapy, they are working, but they are not employees. They do not receive a wage. Their work is a part of their therapy program. In fact, that's how they pay for, in part, for their program. I didn't write it on here, I should have. The program is provided to them free of charge. We don't do Rule 25, we don't accept insurance, they don't have to pay. They're able to come, and the program is free of charge. Now, if you know anything about recovery programs, think about that cost for 6 months. Hazelden's $30,000 for 28 days. By car, bus.
Stops right
Goes from
there.
40th all the way downtown. Every 10, 20 minutes, all the way on. Yeah.
Goes all the way down to 46th Street.
You have to make a presentation.
11?
Artboard because you're on the ground realm.
I was just asking Liz if we need to, and she seemed to think that it'd be nice if we did, even if it wasn't required, and we would like to. Present what we'd like to do to the park board, even if it wasn't required.
The 11 serves.
I don't think you were. I think you're talking.
Well, I ride that bus to work every day.
It stopped. You can get on at the corner of Saint Anthony Parkway and
Columbia Boulevard.
Columbia Boulevard, right in front of the building. And then it goes south.
And as far as other employees that are driving to work or whatever, more than likely they're going to be coming down Marshall.
Right.
Or across on St. Anthony Parkway.
And we have a lot of people who live north, so they're coming off of 694 and then Main Street or.
And it's really no more traffic than when they
Probably not. There's 291 parking places around the building. We won't need that many. And our beneficiaries, our clients, are not allowed to have vehicles when they're in the program. So they're not driving at all. Yeah, I love these questions.
What would you say is the general demeanor? The number 10 bus ride used to be very pleasant. It's very unpleasant these days. And the 11 is fairly pleasant to take downtown. So if many of your residents would be using the bus, what's the demeanor of the people, would you say, on buses?
Well, these guys that are taking our bus, especially those that might be going to work therapy, they're acting like they're going to work. they've got their work clothes, they've got their sack lunch, and they're ready to go. And they got to get there, and then they got to get back. I think it's good. The other day I took a bus myself, I live in Apple Valley, from Apple Valley out to Blaine, past Blaine. Well, actually, it was out to this, the Fridley, to the store by Home Depot, Main and 50-something, 6th Street or something.
You know,
So I took buses, and actually I met two of the guys that are in our program that were headed out to the Blaine store.
in defense of the bus riders on the bus 11 bus, the people that take those 4 or 5 buses between like 7:30 and 8:30 in the morning, every single day, and the same group of people is on the afternoon buses between 4 and 5. And they've gotten to be such a tight group of people, they pretty much don't put up with any misbehavior.
You know,
It sounds like this is a situation where residents aren't going to be causing trouble on the bus or in the neighborhood anyway, because if they did, they'd be out of the program.
Right.
So why are they going to be causing trouble for people?
I haven't heard of a problem with one of our residents on a bus. I have heard of some of our residents being very helpful to somebody in need on a bus or at a bus stop. I thought that was pretty cool, because in a former life they would have been the troublemaker.
Well, I think the big thing is that these people want to change their lives, and they're not going to do something.
This is not an easy program that these guys are getting involved in. You can't hold your breath that long. You know, and recovery is not easy. If it was easy, they would have already done it. But these people are committed to do whatever they can to get their life together. They are in a desperate straits, many of them. You know, this is not their first stop in the recovery road for most of them. They've been to a lot of other programs.
Can I ask one other question?
Yeah.
Once they complete the program, you help them with jobs to help them.
We do help them with job placement. We do help them with housing. We encourage them to go to sober housing or transitional housing. We don't do it for them. The Army has a slogan, a hand up, not a handout. And so we assist them as best we can. You know, there's a whole section of our population that have felonies, and so we need to be kind of experts at what we call felony friendly.